Yo, what's up guys, I'm Nick from the Produce School and welcome back to a brand new video. In this video, we're diving into the sound design of some essential Afro House sounds of 2024. I will be remaking some of the most liked presets from our new Afro House pack Oasis and talk you through the sound design process behind it. We'll cover a top lead, a Reese Bass, an FX swoosh and a sequence sound. Before we start the video, if you're searching for more Afro House sounds, go to the link in the description as we just released our new pack Oasis, which contains 90 presets for Serum, so make sure to check that out. Let's now dive straight into the video. Alright, so the first sound that we're going to dive into is an Afro House top lead, which is inspired by the track The Rapture by Enemy and Black Coffee, and it sounds like this. I'm going to recreate all the sounds from scratch, so let's start with that in Serum. First of all, turn on oscillator A and B because we want to use two saw layers for this sound. We can just stick to the default saw wave of Serum, and then we can start giving the first oscillator 8 voices of unison, which gives you that really wide kind of super saw sound, really simple when we just solo it. The sound is a little bit detuned in a certain way. You can achieve that by enabling oscillator B, give it 2 voices of unison, and then just drag down the detune a little bit, which gives you that really wide detuned sound. And then we want to give oscillator B some fine tuning just to make it a little bit more detuned. And we also want to modulate the fine tuning on oscillator B very subtly, so just drag it down to like 15 or something. And then you can turn off the BPM here in the LFO section, which sets it to free rate. And then you want to let that move really slow. So let's just say 0 Hertz. And then every time you will play a note, the detune will hit a little bit differently, which gives a really natural, humanized kind of sound, which you want in this case. Let's now start shaping envelope 1 more as a plucky lead right here. Something like this. And then link that to the filter. Let's use an MG Low 18 filter. And let's make sure both oscillators are routed through the filter. And we don't want the envelope to fully open it up, but we want it to be opened up already to like 60-70%. And then it should just slightly increase the cutoff every time you hit a note. Let's give it a little bit of resonance. And now you can also play around with the amount of detuning you want on it, because of course there's no one right way to do this, but it depends on the sound you are looking for. So if you do it really like more harsh, you will get more of a sound like this. But in this case, we want to keep it a bit more subtle, like this. We can even add another saw layer in the subsection and link it through the filter as well to give more body to the sound. And then you can play around with the level to add it really subtly. Next, we want to link the velocity right here to the filter cutoff. And just really subtle. But now, as I talked about in a lot of other videos already, the velocity also controls the filter cutoff to some extent, which is really useful for these kind of sounds. Let's bring down the resonance a little bit and add some drive to the sound. open up the filter a little bit more. And now in the effects section, just add some chorus. This adds a little bit more wideness to the sound. And then we can add a really simple slap delay and some reverb, just really short with a low size. By the way, we should also add the LFO fine-tuned to oscillator A. And then we have the first sound ready. Let's move on to the next sound, which is called Bass Milk, which is a Reese Bass with a fifth in it, which you can hear in the more aggressive kind of Afro House styles, like the ones from LX1, and it sounds like this. Let's start recreating it from scratch once again. First of all, we want the basic mini saw wavetable for both oscillators, and then pitch down the first oscillator 2 octaves and the second oscillator 1 octave, but then give it 7 voices of unison, which gives you that perfect fifth sound. Bring down the detune a little bit for both, and then give it like 6 or 7 voices of unison both. You immediately get the Reese Bass kind of feel. Let's turn on some noise as well right here. For envelope 1, we can just leave it as it is, just give it a little bit of release. Then link everything through the filter. And then link LFO 1 to the filter cutoff like this. As you can hear right now, the notes don't glide, so put it to legato mode and give it a bit of portamento time. Increase the drive of the filter a little bit. And it's up to you if you either want a more filtered bass or if you want it more opened up. Turn on portamento as always, so it always glides through the notes. Now let's move on to the FX section, and we want to add some proper distortion to the sound. So we're going to choose the asymmetric distortion right here and then leave it to like 20% with the mix somewhere in the middle. Adds a lot of grittiness and depth to the sound. And then a little bit of chorus to make the sound a little bit wider. And that's it for the Reese Bass sound. Really simple and straightforward, but really useful in the modern Afro House sound. Next up is this lead/FX sound, which is basically a swoosh kind of FX. I can better just play it so it makes sense. You can hear something similar in the Rampa and Me remix of More Love, which has been a huge tune. And now we'll just start building it from scratch to show you how you can make these kind of FX sounds. So first of all, we take a basic shape saw wave and give it 14 voices of unison and make it even more detuned like this. Now we want to shape LFO 1 in a shape that resembles the swoosh kind of movement in the pitch. So we're going to link this to the chorus pitch and make it unipolar by hitting Ctrl Shift and then set it to something like 10. Let's see. Now it sounds more like a hardstyle laser, but we're going to counter that by adding a really short LFO to the level right here, which looks something like this. Also make sure that this one hits on envelope mode. Now you already have that kind of sound. You can play around with how long you want it to be. We don't have to do any envelope settings as we're basically already controlling the level with LFO2 right here. Let's now proceed to add an MG-Load 18 filter. And then we want to link LFO1 to the cutoff. Let's move on to the FX section, add some distortion. Maybe add some drive in the filter as well. And a little bit of reverb right here. And that's the sound already. So the sound is really straightforward and it works. But I would recommend that if you want to make something like this, you can use the same principles, like using multiple LFOs to manipulate the chorus pitch and the level. And then try to come up with something more unique. Just play around with it as there are a lot of possibilities. Let's move on to the last sound, which is a sequence sound, which is also really useful in Afro House. And the sound sounds like this. And I'm going to try to recreate something similar from scratch. So the first thing you want to do is just take a basic saw wave once again. And then shape an LFO so we can use it as a rhythmic guide. So link it to the level right here. And we can just put it on like 1/16 and also link it through the cutoff. Pitch it up 2 octaves. Right now there's not really a nice rhythmic element to it. Well, you have a simple 1/16 rhythm, but we're going to use LFO2 to add some more distinctive rhythm to it. So let's try something like this first. Let's put the rate to 1/2. So a rhythm like this could work. And now we want to manipulate the shape of LFO1 with LFO2. And you can easily right click this dot right here and modulate the curve. And then select LFO plus 1, modulated by LFO2. So click that, and as you can see, adjust here how much you want it to modulate. And you can even turn down the mix of it. And right now it's just a really standard saw wave, but you can use the same principle of modulating these kind of rhythms and do it on more complex sounds or on totally different sounds. And then you can just save them as a sequence and play them throughout, for example, your drop as a rhythmic background element, and it just works really well. Let's add some reverb on it for now and some hyper. And it works in a really wide range. So that were the 4 sounds I was going to discuss today. If there are any sounds that you still want to be discussed in the genre of Afro House, make sure to leave a comment down below, as we are planning to do some more sound design videos as well as regular tutorials. If you want to check out more sounds like these, head over to the link in the description and you will find our new pack Oasis with all kind of presets, samples, projects, vocals and more. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys liked another sound design tutorial, and I see you guys in the next video.